We'll take another look at what's grabbing headlines in the press. Our press reviewer Solange Mojan is here with us for that. Now, The Guardian today has an exclusive on violence in Kenya, specifically at a pineapple farm. Solange, tell us more.
Yeah, as we can see on the front page of The Guardian today, it is publishing accusations that at a Monte farm in Kenya, security guards have killed a few villagers in all impunity and brutalized a number of others that were suspected of trespassing and possible theft on the farm. The villagers tell The Guardian that the security guards and the police do not value life. The families are fighting for answers about what happened to their loved ones with no answers yet. Now, the paper worked with the Bureau of Investigative Journalism on these reports. A human rights campaigner told them that, quote, those buying Del Monte pineapples need to know about the allegations. The fruit supplier has said that they have launched an investigation.
We'll move on now, Solange. What is in the French papers this Thursday morning?
As we can see on the front page of Libération today, there are two top stories. The first, the explosion in Paris, in central Paris. Police believe that they're looking into whether it was a possible gas leak. And then the other story, on the political front, the mowing down of environmentalists. Libération says that this dissolving yesterday of the environmentalist group, the Soulèvement de la Terre, is a first in France. For Libé, it argues that Macron is, quote, bringing out the big guns as a cover-up, they argue, for his lack of climate action by painting a picture of eco-activists as eco-terrorists, they say. And in doing so, he is trying, according to Libé, to create a precedent to squash all dissent that uses civil disobedience. Now, Mediapart is of the same view as well. It says that this is a historic step backwards. It argues that it is a political absurdity and an error of democracy. The group, Soulèvement de la Terre, has said it will challenge the disbanding in court, with much attention being paid to how the disbanding a few years ago would never have been possible, would never have legally worked, but a law against anti-radical Islam gave Macron the possible potential of disbanding the group. But in the conservative press, there is a completely different view, as we see in Le Figaro. It argues that Gérald Darmanin, the interior minister, wants to ensure security and safety for all those involved and their belongings as well. For it and the government, institutionalized violence is unacceptable, even if, and I quote here, quote, the intentions are good.
Moving on now, Solange, to a controversy involving a U.S. Supreme Court judge, Samuel Alito, which is being highly discussed in the American press.
The investigative site ProPublica has come out with an article that says that Justice Alito, who we see here in the center holding the king salmon, went on a luxury $1,000 a day fishing trip and was flown there for free by a Republican mega donor, Paul Singer. And then Alito never disclosed the trip or the plane ride, and then did not recluse himself from Supreme Court cases involving this hedge fund billionaire. Now, prior to publishing the report, ProPublica actually asked Alito to comment on it, and instead of replying, Alito wrote a pre-buttal, is what it's being called, in the Wall Street Journal. There he claimed ignorance to the billionaire's connection to the court cases and said that they only met on a handful of occasions. Now, the New York Times says that this practice of publishing a response before the accusations are published is exceedingly rare and came as a surprise to ProPublica. Its editor-in-chief wonders if it was fact-checked. But for the Washington Post, it says that Alito is simply showing his colors as a former lawyer, argumenting with, quote, clever legal rationalizations. But the paper writes that who's mastering the narrative is besides the point, that the problem, it says, is not the reporting, but the socializing. The point being, quote, luxury recreational trips paid for by wealthy benefactors is inherently in conflict with the role of serving on the Supreme Court.
Now, in addition to Alito's luxury fishing, then, Solange, lavish vacations in general are making the rounds in the press right now. That, of course, is because of that missing Titan submersible.
Why are some wealthy people so attracted to out-of-this world vacations, asks Insider. It explains that traveling to the depth of the Titanic, which costs about 250 grand, or traveling to outer space, which costs even more, provides some wealthy people with the thrill of pushing boundaries or claiming bragging rights to their adventures. For some, it is a way of life, the site says. For L'Orient Le Jour, it argues that our planet has already been so explored and so exploited that humanity has little chance of knowing anything else that is truly unknown, except for death, writes this journalist. So, to feel adventurous, she argues that there is only space and the deep, deep blue sea.
Finally, time to maybe bring us the good stuff, something uplifting. You found an article about getting naked.
Yeah, and more specifically, how important it is to be comfortable being naked and how it's important to get naked more often. Slate.fr has picked up on a New York Times article on the importance of getting comfortable with your body and being naked, and it explains how to do it. It can create enjoyment, it says, but also make you feel better about your body positive images, arguments here. So how do you do it? Well, the New York Times has 4 main tips. It says, spend more time naked. Focus on how your body feels, on your brain and your senses. Number 3, body avoidance. It says, ask yourself if you avoid being naked and why. And finally, surround yourself with images of body types. The article concludes that quote, and I quote, remember that nearly all adult naked bodies jiggle or wobble, have hair, have cellulite, have scars, have the marks of living.
There you have it. I told you she was going to bring us the good stuff for the conclusion, a rather uplifting message that we probably all need. Solange Moujon with the press review. Thank you very much.